Here in our church family, we've just been through a season where most of us had to stay at home because of COVID, a season where we've had a lot of changes in our staff and in our family, and now we're entering a new season. And Pastor Bartley is going to talk to us this morning about the season that we're entering and give us some vision so that we can prepare ourselves for the season that God has in mind for us.
Well, welcome everybody to Vision Sunday. Glad that you're here. As promised, I want to take some time today just to paint a picture of where we're headed over the next 6 to 9 to 12 months. It's been a wild ride. COVID has been a serious challenge to literally everybody. I don't think there's a person, a family, a business, or a church that hasn't had to completely reorganize the way that they operate over these last couple of years. Many churches haven't fared too well. In fact, a lot of them are going to close their doors for good. Even more have had to make really huge adjustments. I've spoken with a lot of pastors over the last number of months and through the pandemic, and I can tell you guys, Renew has fared very well compared to a lot of churches that I know. We are blessed to have had the ability to shift quickly to get to online services. Thank you, Eric Russell, for your help with that. And our giving remained pretty strong through a good portion of the pandemic, but the pandemic has definitely impacted us as well at Renew Church, and we need to talk about the realities of that. So I want to begin today just by talking about the reality. Our giving dropped a little when we stopped meeting in person. We were happy that a lot of people adapted by giving electronically, and so thank you everyone for making that shift at the beginning of the pandemic. Unfortunately, we've also had a number of families that moved away during the pandemic, particularly right toward the end as we came into this summer. These were just life changes, people moving, not because they didn't love Renew. In fact, many of them were very generous and gave us kind of a parting gift as they left. But, you know, those families who contributed generously to our church, some of them have gone. And they contributed generously in all kinds of different ways. So that's something that we're going to have to adjust to. Just to be very transparent, our tithes and offerings from 2 years ago, we're looking at these numbers here recently, we went from $862,000 down to $684,000. That's a significant drop. That's almost $180,000, guys, which is a drop of around 21%. So that's really significant. How much our attendance numbers have dropped over this time is really impossible to say right at this moment, just because everyone's not back to meeting in person. A lot of people are still watching online. But people are starting to attend more and more in person. But we're still not seeing probably half of those who call Renew their home attending in person on Sundays yet. It's just the reality, and a number of people are still cautious about coming out. We totally understand that. We get that. But we are optimistic that this trend of more people attending in person will continue as people are feeling more comfortable and as the cautions continue to be lifted. So we're very optimistic. We still have a significant online viewership at this point. We're averaging between 100 and 150 views on our online service every week, whether that's on YouTube or on Facebook. Oh, and did I mention that we've continued to add people, connect people with Renew Church during this pandemic? People have come to faith in Christ. They've even gotten baptized. Some of you remember watching that online. God is still at work, and I want you to know that. I actually met a woman last Sunday for the first time in person who has been attending classes and a Renew group for months now at Renew Church, and I just met her in person for the first time. It's crazy what's going on. But we have a lot to be thankful for. We really do. Our Maverick Youth program is picking back up. We had almost 50 students meeting at St. Jude's Academy in Meadowvale on Tuesday night. Isn't that fantastic? That's awesome stuff. We've been extremely blessed to be able to gather here at Hope Church, where we've been meeting on Sundays, and it's a great facility. If you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, we encourage you to come on out and take a look. It's really, really fantastic. I needed to begin today with showing you the current realities, because I know that many of you have been wondering about the future. What's coming up for Renew Church? How is this going to look? Well, guys, the hard reality is that with the financial hit that we've taken, going back to meeting as 4 separate campuses, it just is not in the cards right now. When each venue that we rent costs around $50,000 per year, and then you add a full-time campus pastor salary on top of that, it just is not doable for us. We've discovered that it takes 100 to 120 people at a campus to be able to cover those kinds of costs. And at least 3 of our 4 campuses right now just are not at that level since the pandemic has taken place. Besides these financial realities, as you all know, we've lost 3 campus pastors in the past 15 months. So there's been some significant change. Our vision is still to make disciples across the GTA through attractional services and missional communities. So guys, that hasn't changed. That's still what we're all about as a church. But we're going to need to make some adjustments, at least for the foreseeable future. And I've been in conversation with the elders and also with the staff, and we are all in agreement that God is leading Renew into a period of consolidation so that we can create a strong and sustainable base for long-term ministry. And that's really what we're heading into now. What I'm saying is that we need to take time to pull together and just to regroup during this time. Guys, I've been saying it, I've been through a number of times, like this in my 30 years of ministry, where it was just necessary to do this, just to regroup and to catch our breath. This isn't the first time that we've had a time like this over the years. And here's the thing, we've always gotten through those times, and we're going to get through it again this time. But we do need a strategy that's going to allow us to thrive and that pulls us together into a position of strength for the foreseeable future. We have a pretty large church at Renew Church. It's much larger than average. You may not be aware of that. The fact is that we're just spread out over the Northwest GTA, and we need to just consolidate during this time. So I want to outline a little strategy here for you so you can see what to expect over the upcoming months. All right, so let's tune in and kind of follow as I talk through this. First of all, we're going to continue to meet with 3 campuses together in a central location with Cambridge meeting on their own. They're a little farther away, but we're going to continue to meet with 3 campuses together, Mayfield, Meadowvale, and Milton, together at one location. Secondly, we're going to continue to meet at 4 p.m. at Hope Church in Mississauga, at least until the end of March, or until we can find a Sunday morning location that is a more desirable option than what we have at Hope. You say, well, what do you mean by more desirable? Well, that would include factors of ease of setup and teardown, which we have at Hope, a location that is nice and central to those 3 campuses. The time of day is something we would consider, the quality of the venue, and so on. So we would take all those factors into consideration. We want to keep meeting at a location that requires minimal setup and teardown so that we can focus more of our energy on ministry within our neighborhoods. And that's something that is really dear to us. The third thing is that we want to continue offering online services for those that are less inclined to attend in person. Again, we know that this is going to be a phase-out kind of time. It's going to take some time for people, and we've also had a lot of new people connect with us online. So we want to continue to make that available, and we will continue to do that. Point D, from now until the spring, we want to feel out the pluses and minuses of this current meeting arrangement with 3 campuses meeting together in the Meadowvale area. Having Meadowvale, Milton, and Mayfield meet as one congregation, we're going to take some time and get a feel for how that is. We're going to meet at Sunday, 4 o'clock, instead of in the morning, and we're going to continue to feel out how that works for us. Our staff is going to consult with our different Renew groups and with the Renew group leaders to kind of get everybody's impressions of how they're feeling about things during this time. And we need to take our time as we do this, because right now it's impossible to get a true feel of what it will eventually be like meeting in the space at Hope Church in Mississauga. We want to take the time to properly evaluate all of the different factors. I mean, think about it. We have to think about the distance that people are traveling to get there, the workload of our volunteers in this new arrangement, the time of day implications for people, and then really, most importantly, the lifting of these COVID restrictions over time, because as those lift, the dynamics change. I mean, let's be honest, guys, until we can stop social distancing and stop wearing masks, and until we can have everyone back together again like we used to, we just aren't going to have a true feel for what it's like meeting together at Hope Church. I actually told the staff this week, I am longing for the day when we see everyone comfortable coming back together again, and when I can actually hear the congregation singing. You know, I know you are behind those masks, but I just can't wait to hear everybody singing together again. With time, every Sunday is going to start feeling like a big night out again. And once we get to that point and we feel that, that's a good indication of what, we can expect it will be like in this space. Point E, we're going to reconfigure our Renew groups so as to create larger but fewer missional communities. And this is actually going to provide a larger critical mass for each group. It's going to see more dependable leaders in each group and allow each group to have a stronger evangelistic impact. Now, guys, don't worry, don't panic as you're hearing this. Any changes that we're going to make as it relates to groups will be made in discussion and consultation with the groups and their leaders, okay? You don't need to worry about us coming in and shuffling your group on you, okay? But we have a number of groups that have kind of need to be reshuffled anyway because different people have moved and so on, so we're going to be working on that. And our plan this year is to resource group leaders like we never have before in the history of our church. In fact, we are going to be dedicating a staff person to this very purpose, and I'll tell you more about that in just a little bit. But we are confident with good resourcing and support that our Renew groups can continue to thrive in their current communities. And that's really important, guys. We want to continue to be a powerful light in each of the communities where we exist, and we're confident we can continue to do that if we really support our groups and our group leaders. Point F, we're going to roll out Renew U as our main discipleship tool. Renew University, it's something that we've been working on. We're getting very close to rolling out. We're going to have Renew group leaders track their people as they are going through that and just encourage them to continue to move through the different courses and offerings that are there. It's going to be fantastic. Renew U is designed to be usable anywhere, anytime, by anyone. That's the goal for this. It's going to be pandemic-proof so that our people can always be growing in their discipleship no matter what it is that we're going through. So we're going to have individuals and groups that will meet online and in person. So every format available, and we will have in-person classes still available for people. So don't worry about that if that's the format that you prefer. But for those that find it more convenient to just have classes meeting from home or to take classes in on their own and go through material on their own, they'll be able to do that as they're going into work on the GO train or doing it as they have free time on their own. It's all going to be available. We're going to have an app created that's going to help you with that. So watch for that. Then point G, we're going to restructure our staff to fit this new paradigm. And guys, I'm excited to present that new structure of our staff to you this morning, and that's coming up in just a second. Point H, we're going to continue to have Maverick meet at St. Jude's Academy, unless a more favorable option appears, but for now it seems to be working really well. And Jake Troughton has said that he's really enjoying using that space, and so we're going to continue with that until something better appears. And finally, we're going to take our time to decide how to manage campuses long term. And guys, this includes Cambridge. Those of you that are out in Cambridge, we haven't forgotten about you. We miss seeing you with us. We need to come up with strategies long term with how we're going to do campuses. Like I said, doing campuses as usual is not an option for the foreseeable future, but we're confident that there are ways that we can keep our light shining in all of our neighborhoods, but we're going to take our time and figure out the best way to do that over the upcoming months. I think that we're going to learn a lot over the next 12 months. So guys, that's the strategy, and I think that you will be able to see how it really makes sense for us in the time that we're in right now. As Pastor Mitch read this morning, there's a season for everything and different times under the sun, and we're in a unique season right now. For now, I have a few clear ways that I do want to encourage you as you're sort of ingesting all of this news, all right? Let me encourage you. First of all, I want you to settle into this new reality, all right? Just start getting comfortable with it. Guys, all things considered, this really isn't that bad, is it? For those of you that have been out at Hope Church, you know it's a really nice venue, and we need to get the word out. Meeting at Hope is actually pretty sweet. The secret is out. Everybody knows this is a really nice venue. And like I say, if you haven't checked it out yet, once you're feeling comfortable, please come on out and check it out. We're not quite living like underground church in Iran here, okay? It's really not like that. Now, I know some of us have a bit further to travel, but we're not having to show up 2 hours early to set up and then stay another hour afterwards to tear down. Amen? I can hear the amens through the screen today. I know that we have to haul our families to Meadowvale, but no one is hauling trailers anymore either. Amen? Right, I can hear the amens again. I know that we all aren't meeting in our own communities, but isn't it nice to have so many people that we can have serving so that people are only having to serve like once a month instead of every week? It's kind of nice. And guys, I know we're not meeting on Sunday morning, but am I the only one saying that sleeping in on Sunday morning could be the greatest guilty pleasure that I've ever experienced? Now, I'm a pastor, and our guilty pleasures are maybe not as extreme as other people's, but I'm kind of enjoying this, I have to be honest. I'm even seeing people hang out after the service time at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoons, going to a restaurant after and just hanging out with people, and I love seeing that. That's so awesome. Guys, the truth is that many people in the GTA travel a bit further to attend larger gatherings. Trust me, I know. I've seen that over the years. But I'm starting to understand why people do this. This is a nice facility that we've been using at Hope, something that serves our needs very well and that I would be thrilled to invite people to, right? It's really nice and it's working well for us. So all things considered, this isn't all that bad. It really isn't. Remember Tito from Oliver and Company, that kid's movie? He said, "If this is torture, chain me to the wall," right? And guys, really, this is really pretty good. Sorry for my Spanish accent, it's pretty bad. All right. The next thing I want to encourage you in is to embrace change. If there's anything the pandemic has taught us, it's that we need to get used to change, guys. I hate to break it to you, but the world is never going to be the same again. It's not. If you thought 9/11 changed the world, you haven't seen anything yet. You haven't seen anything. Things are changing so rapidly. So I really do feel bad for those of you who have a really hard time with change, and I get it. We're all different personalities, and some of you struggle with it. But here's the thing. I can't think of a better group to have around you to help you with that than your church family. Your church family can be there for you and encourage you and help you get through these difficult changes. That's why we all need to pull together, guys. And that's why we need to embrace change together. The third thing I want to encourage you in is that I want you to think about what really matters when it comes to your church and your church experience. You know, we tend to get hung up on details that really are not that significant when you consider what's truly important. We all have kind of silly ideas of what legitimizes our church experience, like the time of day or the structure, campuses versus a larger gathering, or if we're owning space versus renting space, or if we're meeting in some other church's space. Guys, none of those things is really significant. It really isn't. I would like to talk to you, though, this morning about what really does matter in your church experience. And I want you to think hard about these things. Here's the questions you should be asking yourself, okay? The first one, am I and my family experiencing vital community and feeling connected, right? Whether it's through church or Renew groups or, through Maverick, the kids programs, are you feeling that community and connection? That's a legitimate question. Second one, am I and my family being fed and challenged in our growth, through the preaching on Sundays, through classes, again, through the youth programs, the kids programs? Are you being fed and challenged? And I believe that you are. Thirdly, am I able to connect my friends and neighbors with Renew in these arrangements, through Renew groups or outreach events that we do, online church or material that we're doing online, classes and so on, and also through in-person church? Are we able to connect our friends and neighbors still in this arrangement? And guys, I'm telling you, I live in Milton. I would not hesitate for a second to invite someone to come and join us at Hope Church in Meadowvale. I wouldn't. The next question, am I able to serve in ministry without being overworked, right? And there's serving opportunities. And if you're looking for something, we want to help you find something. And the great thing is you're not having to be overworked because everyone's pulling together here. Also, am I and my family experiencing meaningful corporate worship together? Guys, here's a fact. The worship that we're enjoying together at Hope Church on Sundays in person is better than any of us were experiencing at any one of our campuses. Let's just be honest. We've got all our musicians coming together. We've got more musicians. Elizabeth is doing a wonderful job, Elizabeth Rada, at leading our worship team. And it's just been fantastic week after week as we're getting together. Just wait until the masks can come off. I'm telling you, it's going to be so awesome. And then one other question I think is legitimate to ask is, do I feel connected and resourced by my church leadership? These are good questions, guys. And I'm confident that if we continue to staff strategically, we can do things better than ever at Renew Church. Here's one more thing that I want you to consider today. Everyone who's tuning in here today considers Renew Church to be their spiritual family. At least most of you do. And I don't know if you've ever really given it much thought as you think about our larger church family, but this family has come together in such incomprehensible ways. I was thinking about this week and just kind of being blown away. You know, one person may have attended Grace Community Church over 20 years ago. Another person may have attended the Village Church in Milton like 12 years ago. Renew Church brought us together, and since that time, others have joined at the Mayfield campus or in Cambridge maybe 3 to 5 years ago. But here we are all together. And here's the thing, we really like each other, and we really are family. We are. And so I want you to consider the sovereignty of God in the formation of this community that we call Renew Church. For whatever reason, God has brought this group of people together, for whatever reason. And guys, I really don't take that lightly, nor do I consider it to be haphazard, because I understand how God works, and the Bible's clear about how God does these things. Look at Acts chapter 17. It says, "The God who made the world and everything in it is the Lord of heaven and earth and does not live in temples built by hands." The Apostle Paul is talking to people at Athens. He says, "And he is not served by human hands as if he needed anything, because he himself gives all men life and breath and everything else. From one man he made every nation of men, that they should inhabit the whole earth, and he determined the time set for them and the exact places where they should live. God did this so that men would seek him and perhaps reach out for him and find him, though he is not far from each one of us." Guys, this is a great passage that explains what God's doing in the world. And I really believe that God has brought this family of believers together for a reason, and that he still has great purposes in store for us, our Renew community. Guys, we have amazing people here, gifted people. We have a lot of young leaders coming up in our church, and I'm going to be making a concentrated effort in investing and in developing those young leaders as we move forward. I am very positive about our future. Right now, we just have a corner that we need to turn. We've done it before, and we're going to do it again. In the time that I have left this morning, I want to just, first of all, introduce a simple new campaign that we're starting right now, today. And then secondly, I want to introduce our new staff to you, because I talked about new staffing arrangements. Okay, so here we go. As of right now, we are introducing to you what we're calling the 110% campaign. All right, now we're all Canadians, so we understand the concept of giving 110%, right? You watch those interviews with hockey players between the periods of the hockey game, and they're always talking about giving 110%, and we know it doesn't really make mathematical sense, but it's that idea that we want to always go above and beyond. We want to give it everything we've got and a little bit more. And if we're going to turn this corner, guys, as a church, and we're going to turn it, we're going to need everybody to give 110%. And so I'm calling on everyone today who calls Renew their church family to really pull together over the next 12 months. Can we do that? Let's just really pull together. Today, as soon as the service is over, we're going to ask you to go to the app or to our website and to commit what we're calling the 110% campaign, just to commit to this. And here's the deal. There's 4 areas that we're asking everyone to consider giving 110% in. Let me kind of go through. This is what you're going to see on the form as you go to the app or you go online. The first thing is communion. We want to challenge you to draw close to God in personal prayer and praise with him, just to get close to God this year. Everything starts with where your heart is at with God. So we want you to make an extra effort in that this year. Secondly, connection. We want you to make an extra effort in committing just to being together with your Christian brothers and sisters at Renew Church. Getting together at our church services, getting together in your Renew groups, other hospitality that you might offer, other opportunities that come up, just taking advantage of those opportunities so that we can be together. It's so important. After this pandemic, this is what we really need, just to come together. Thirdly, we want to challenge you to be extra committed to collaboration, at working together and serving together so that many hands make light work. And we're seeing this already with our First Impressions team and with our children's ministry. Guys, let's keep doing this. If you haven't gotten involved somewhere yet, we're asking you to give an extra effort in this year. If we all do something, it will make light work together. The final one is contribution. and this is for those who are able this year, we're asking you to go 110%. Literally meaning, would you consider giving 10% more to the church than you gave last year? That's what we're asking. Now, some of you, listen, I know you're not in the position to do that. Things have been difficult with your work and so on. That's totally okay. Totally okay. We get that. Many of our people regularly increase their giving, year after year as they get pay increases and as things go well and as they try to stretch their own faith. And most of us probably haven't revisited our giving since COVID started. Most of us are giving online now because that's what we had to do through the pandemic. Personally, an extra 10% won't impact me and my family too hard. But I know that it adds up as time goes on, and so it will be a significant extra contribution. And I think if everyone who's able could do that, this would really help us turn the corner. We do have some ground that we need to make up on our budget, and we're just being honest about that. God is going to bring new people to us, but we just need to turn this corner right now. So we're asking you to give 110% in all of these categories. Now here's the deal. Whoever fills out the online form, or on the app or on the website, whatever, you're going to get a package mailed to you with some goodies in it. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but everyone that does this, you're going to get these goodies mailed to you in your mailbox, your physical mailbox, not your inbox, your physical mailbox, okay? And you don't need to check all of the boxes in order to get it. Just go through and check the ones that you really feel led to, pray about it, but we want you to do that this week. And this campaign is going to be fun. It's going to be light. We're going to give lots of little video reminders as we go through, and it's going to be fun as we all pull together, and it's going to make you smile as you watch these videos, but it's just going to remind us we're all here this year to give 110%. We also just want to punctuate this year with social events where we can all just get together. There's been different times in the history of our church where we've done this more, and we really want to increase that this year. Just all of us getting together to be together as family and appreciating each other and getting to know each other again. Guys, we are going to get through this, and one of the reasons why I'm so confident is because of the amazing staff that we have at Renew Church. And I want to wrap it up today by telling you about the new staff that we have coming on with us. First of all, we have Genevieve Amaral. She is our Renew Kids director. If you have not met Genevieve, she's a wonderful person. She's a mom of 3 boys, an experienced school teacher. She used to be the children's director at the Meeting House in Brampton. So she has experience with this kind of stuff, guys. She's extremely qualified, and many of you have already seen the new organization and energy that she's bringing to our Renew Kids program. So if you haven't had a chance to meet Genevieve, go on back to the Renew Kids area of the church at Hope Church on Sunday. Have a chance to say hi. But tell your friends, guys, Jen is on duty, and your kids are going to love hanging out with their friends at Renew Kids. She's already starting extra stuff like the fall festival that's happening for the kids tonight at Hope Church. So this is awesome. The second person I want to introduce to you is Denise Gervais. She is our new integration director at Renew Church. Now, Denise, many of you know her. She's an entrepreneur along with her husband Jason. At Web ROI, she is an administrative fiend. She really is. She's a graduate of our GCBI program. She really loves digging into her Bible. She has started serving on our teaching team at Renew. She's a gifted speaker, and many of you have heard her speak. But she has been this administrative genius working in Milton in coordination with the staff there for many years. And she's already been overseeing our First Impressions team, as many of you know, all of the volunteers that welcome people and all of the ushers and greeters and so on. She is going to continue with that, and she's also going to take on integration for us, which basically means helping people move from their first connection with our church all the way to getting settled into a Renew group. And there's a lot of steps in that, right? We have Connection Point and classes like That Man Called Jesus or Alpha, people getting to the place of making a decision to follow Jesus and even getting baptized before we get them really rooted in a group. And so this process requires strong administration, and it's really a huge key to the growth of our church. And Denise is already getting started in this. I am so excited to have someone as organized as Denise heading this up. It's going to be great. The next person I want to introduce to you is Mr. Eric Russell as our executive director and production manager. By now, I think everyone knows Eric. He's the one that, through his production management, has really pulled us through this pandemic. He's been serving part-time in that role, and yes, we can all applaud for that. Eric is an experienced small business owner, and he loves to make things work more efficiently and effectively. He also manages people really well, and we saw this as he organized the tech crew over the last year and a half. He loves systems and structures that improve efficiency. This is what he is all about, and everyone on staff has seen his strength in these areas. And I actually started to discuss the possibilities of Eric serving in a greater capacity at Renew almost 2 years ago. For 23 years, I've been doing most of the management at our church, and I am competent. I think I can go that far. I'm competent at it, but I do not excel at it, and it really wears me out. And so I have to tell you, I am so excited to have administrative people like Eric, like Denise, coming on staff so that I can focus on what I feel called to and what I do best, which is setting vision for our church, for preaching and teaching, and creatively seeing how we can get our church to grow. I really think the addition of these staff could be the best thing that have ever happened to our church. On that note, I also want to mention someone that you know very well, and that is Pastor Mitch Van Rassel, who is from now on going to be our discipleship pastor at Renew Church. And guys, I have to be honest with you, I get a little bit emotional because just a couple of months ago, I didn't know really how Mitch was going to be doing today and where he would be. And the Lord has pulled him through. He is looking better and better every day, which is amazing because he's already stunningly good looking, right? But Mitch deserves a lot of credit during his time as our executive pastor. He brought us into the time of the greatest financial stability that we've ever had. Now, the pandemic was an anomaly that affected things, and we've talked about that. But even the pandemic has been manageable because of Pastor Mitch's previous work. He really put us in a good spot. And so Mitch has been growing in his pastoral roles. He is a natural pastor. That's his natural gifting. He loves to meet with people more than anyone on our staff. And he's been doing a lot of counseling. It's just great to see him use his gifts in this area. And over time, it became apparent to me that one day in our church would be best served to have Mitch focusing on discipleship completely. And guys, that day has come. He is actually pursuing ordination, and he is beginning right away at getting all of our Renew groups running well again. So if you haven't heard from Mitch yet, you're going to hear from him soon, Renew group leaders. So be watching and waiting for that. He's also going to be overseeing our Renew U classes, counseling, men's and women's ministry. Pastor Mitch is going to oversee everything related to discipleship. And he's going to continue to serve at an executive level on staff along with me and along with Eric Russell. And I'm so excited. Guys, when you add these changes in staffing to our existing roster of Merrick Kowalski, our communications director, Barb Mangy, who is our office administrator, Jake Troughton, who's our youth leader, Elizabeth Rada, who's our worship director, and Jen Kowalski, who works with us in finance and with the bookkeeping, we have a strong team with a great mix of youth and experience. And I have to tell you, I am so excited to be working with this team. Guys, let's everybody really pull together over this next year and give 110%. I believe in Renew Church, and I know you do too, so let's go after it.